Hi, I'm Erica from the Alameda String Academy, and we're here today to talk about Andantino. This is number 11 from Suzuki book number 1. Now, Andantino, I love to pair together with the previous piece, Allegretto, because they both experiment in different ways with the accent. And an accent is something that adds a little bit extra oomph to whatever you're doing, okay? So if you feel like something is really important, you're going to accent your words, you're going to say them with extra energy, and it's the same thing in music. So where we had an allegretto, da-da-dum, 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 we're kind of sending things back and forth like little zings. In Andantino, this one is quite a little bit more flowy. Da-da-dum, da-da-dum, da-da-dum. Da, and then we have a little surprise at the end where kind of maybe somebody jumps out at you and surprises you, or you get to do that to someone else, or there's some element of excitement or surprise at the end of each one of these phrases. So physically what that means is that we need to be able to do these very easy eighth note quarters, and the quarter notes have staccato on them. And what that really means, I think, in this song, what that really means is just that you're not playing a long note. It's not like a very clear stop, like da 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 da, because that would almost sound like an accent. But it's just a gentle stop, da 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 da, like that. Okay, because we want to save the clear kind of sound, the sound that sort of jabs us, for the accent itself. So the accent is going to kind of be the star of the show. And this one, where in Allegretto, we really made it, we did our accent, and then we picked a clear place to stop because it was a staccato accent. This one is a legato accent, so we want to let the bow really float until the next beat. We really don't want to stop the bow until it's time to play the next note. So okay, so you can kind of hear the beginning of the staccato sound has a whoosh, and the whoosh keeps on going until it's time to play the next note. So that's the difference between the staccato accent that you heard in the previous piece and this legato accent here. Okay, we want to have lots of room, and we want to feel really flexible with our bow hand. So we're going to make sure that as we're holding the bow, all of our joints feel bendy and light and flexible, so that we can make these kind of changes. And so we're thinking of something really smooth and light for the eighth notes. And then we're going to go zoom. Now, measure 9 is a whole different thing, because you'll notice in the music we have a dynamic change. We move from mezzo forte to forte. The song really opens up dynamically, and we have no accents whatsoever. So everything is nice and long and just open and flowy. And I don't know about you, but I love to put words to my songs. So usually my songs have something to do with food. So maybe I might think, I love chocolate and I love cheese. Won't you like to come and join me? And this helps me to kind of bring out some of the other elements of this song. Like we have what's called a poco ritardando at the end, which poco means a little, ritardando means slowing down. So we're slowing down a little at the end of that line, and that's a perfect point to ask a question. So I'm going to play with a full bow. I'm going to have a little diminuendo and a poco ritardando at the end of the line. And when it says a tempo, that means right back to the original tempo to finish the song. But before we get to the end of the song, we have a fermata. And this fermata is in a new place. We've never seen it in this kind of place before. It's right over the bar line, in between two notes. And that means the hold, which fermata is Italian, literally for hold. If you ride the train in Italy, you'll hear them say, just like in the London Underground, they say, mind the gap. If you're in Italy, the recording on the train says fermata per favore, which means please hold on. So we're going to hold on to that fermata until it's time to finish the song. And that's totally up to you as the musician. So I'm going to invite you to join me for chocolate and cheese. And then we'll get back to frolicking to the end of the song with a little fermata at the end. Now, one of the things that you also get to decide as the artist, as the musician, is whether or not you want to use your fourth finger, okay? And you have a few opportunities for this. Using the fourth finger, especially on the upper notes, on the upper strings, like your fourth finger, let's see, your fourth finger E on the A string, can often be a really good choice when you don't want the open E to make that bright, vibrant sound that it usually makes. And that often makes sense when you're playing a scale that is going down, or when you're moving from a brighter sound to a kind of darker sound. And one of those places to ask that question is measure 9 and 10, okay? Because we're playing that scale going down the string, and you might even ask yourself if you want to play your A as a fourth finger as well. Here's how it would sound if you just played with your open strings. And that's very lovely all by itself. But play around with the fourth finger, because you might discover that actually it might feel like it's a little bit more work, but maybe it makes a sound that you really enjoy. Now, it totally makes sense to play a fourth finger in, for instance, measure 1 or measure 14, when you go up to that A, because you're only going up to the highest note you do in that measure is A itself. And it kind of makes more sense to stay on D instead of crossing the string for one note and then coming back. And what I mean is this. And you can kind of hear how that A sticks out. Da 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 da. Okay, so if I covered it with my fourth finger on the D string, it would sound like this. Okay, so it might sound like a small difference, but this is the kind of choice you can make. And of course, you should do what your teacher asks you to practice, because they're probably encouraging you to learn a new skill. That is the gist of Andantino. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and look out for opportunities in future tracks to play through the song with me and the piano accompaniment, or with the accompaniment track all by itself.